The grand hall of the Interstellar Council gleamed under artificial sunlight, a pristine monument to diplomacy between species. Flags of 100 worlds waved from high columns, each representing a civilization that had endured decades of war and instability. Humanity had spent centuries negotiating, fighting, and surviving. Yet here we were, celebrating a treaty that promised peace with the Vorith, a species infamous across half the sector for their brutality. Admiral Jace Rowan stood among the human delegation, his posture rigid, his gaze scanning the assembled alien dignitaries. He was a veteran of countless skirmishes along the Death World sectors, a place where entire human battalions had been annihilated by ecosystems and predators unlike any other. Despite the grandeur of the hall, Rowan's mind was focused on one thought. The treaty was a lie. Humanity had known it from the beginning. The Vorith ambassador, a towering figure with black-scaled skin and luminescent eyes, stepped forward. Their voice echoed across the hall, resonant and chilling. Let this accord be a testament to our mutual respect and the dawn of lasting peace between our peoples. Delegates clapped politely, and cameras captured every moment for news feeds across human systems. Rowan remained still, his hand brushing the edge of his ceremonial blade. Every detail of the treaty had been analyzed, every clause cross-checked against Vorith behavior. Humans had not acted impulsively. This performance was strategy, patience, and foresight. When the ambassador's gaze met Rowan's, a flicker of something passed between them, amusement, perhaps even condescension. They had seen through our calm, as if acknowledging that humans were aware of the deception. And they were right. Days later, off-record, Rowan met with the Council's covert strategists aboard the Orbital Command Station. Holographic screens displayed intelligence feeds from Vorith territories, showing troop movements, resource stockpiles, and clandestine weapon manufacturing. The images painted a clear picture. The Vorith never intended to honor the treaty. The celebration was a facade. Peace was a weapon, and humanity had already anticipated the trap. "Admiral," said Commander Celine Voss, her face stern but resolute, "our analysts confirm the Vorith are mobilizing along border sectors. The treaty is a distraction. They'll strike the outer colonies first." Rowan nodded. "Then we act preemptively but covertly. Let them believe we trust them while we prepare. Our colonies are reinforced, defensive networks online, and Deathworlder battalions ready. They may think they've deceived us, but they've walked into a trap of our design." The following weeks were a dance of diplomacy and subterfuge. Publicly, humanity broadcast compliance and adherence to the treaty, issuing statements of goodwill, holding joint forums, and even participating in ceremonial exchanges. Privately, battalions trained in secret, AI-controlled defense grids were activated, and experimental weapons designed specifically for Vorith biology were deployed. Rowan oversaw operations from the command deck of the Sentinel, humanity's most advanced flagship. Through reinforced viewport panels, he watched the alien fleets assemble along the border planets. Sensors detected Vorith ships equipped with cloaking fields and adaptive shields. They were formidable, but we had prepared. When the first strike came, it was swift. Vorith warships descended upon a human outpost, their weapons cutting through the atmosphere with lethal precision. Cameras caught the destruction as civilians scrambled, but the footage was part of the ruse. Rowan had already evacuated personnel and reinforced the colony's underground shelters. The Vorith believed they had inflicted critical damage. In reality, humanity was ready. Rowan issued commands calmly, directing automated defense turrets, coordinating orbital interceptors, and guiding stealth squads to strategic points. The battle was intense, but controlled. Vorith forces, confident in their deception, were unprepared for the full extent of human readiness. Within hours, Their initial wave was neutralized, ships disabled or destroyed, their tactical superiority undermined by precise, preemptive countermeasures. On the flagship's bridge, Rowan turned to Voss. They overestimated our trust. They underestimated our foresight. Humanity never surrendered its vigilance for ceremonial optics. Voss nodded. This is just the beginning. The Vorath will recalibrate. We need to ensure our colonies remain secure while we exploit their reliance on the treaty's illusion. Rowan knew she was right. The Vorath would not relent. Their pride demanded retaliation. But humanity had prepared a sequence of strategic operations designed to exploit their overconfidence. Planetary defense grids, adaptive AI units, and Deathworlder shock troops were deployed in layers. Every move was calculated to maximize control and minimize human loss. Over the next months, humanity engaged in what would be called the Treaty Wars, a series of counteroffensives that were meticulously planned under the guise of treaty compliance. Vorath fleets attacked, only to be repelled with minimal human casualties. Communication channels intercepted, data manipulated, and tactical misinformation fed to the enemy ensured that each victory reinforced the illusion of Vorath advantage. By the end of the year, the Vorath were forced into retreat. Their arrogance, relying on the falsity of the peace treaty, had led them into predictable patterns, which humanity exploited ruthlessly. Entire Vorath supply chains collapsed, forward bases were abandoned, and morale plummeted. Humanity had turned deception into strategy, using the treaty not as an agreement, but as a weapon against the very species that had tried to betray us. In the aftermath, Rowan addressed the surviving council members and allied representatives. The peace treaty was never ours to uphold, he said. It was theirs to exploit. And we, patient and prepared, ensured that when deception revealed itself, humanity was ready. Our vigilance and foresight preserved not only our colonies, but the integrity of our species across the sector. There was a moment of silence, then applause. Not for victory in battle, but for the discipline, intelligence, and resilience that humanity had demonstrated. Our enemies had underestimated us, believing that ceremony and optics could dictate our responses. They had failed to grasp that humans, especially those hardened by death world sectors, measured trust carefully and acted decisively when it was tested. Rowan returned to the Sentinel, reflecting on the chain of events. The peace treaty had been a lie, yes. But every lie had been anticipated, every trap foreseen. Humanity had turned deception into opportunity, transforming potential vulnerability into strength. And across the stars, the message was clear. Do not mistake ceremonial trust for weakness. Do not assume that patience is ignorance. Humanity observes, calculates, and acts. The Vorath learned this lesson too late. Their fleets were scattered, their colonies isolated, and their plans dismantled. Humanity had survived deception not by luck, but by preparation, intelligence, and the unyielding will to endure. And in the council halls, once filled with laughter at the possibility of peace, only respect remained. For humanity had proven that even in the theater of diplomacy, in the illusion of accord, we were always ready, always vigilant, and always capable of turning betrayal into triumph.